So I'm going to do the assignment here that's due on next Tuesday. It's a number of boxes here that have different requirements. I start up here by wheelie mouse and N. It says to mirror the object of outline AA. Come up here and pick the mirror command. I'm going to select the entire house. Hit the space bar. I'm going to pick a point on this line and pick another point on it. Hit the space bar, and now I have a mirror. Then create a copy of both houses at distance 50 feet down and 5 feet to the right. So I'm going to come up here and pick my copy command. I'm going to use a window by picking a pick, come all the way across to here and pick. And notice it didn't pick anything in between. I'm done selecting, so hit the space bar. I need a displacement. Two ways I can do this. Since it's 50 feet down and 5 feet to the right, my X dimension's 5 feet, comma, minus 50 feet, return, return. And what that did is it copied them over 5 feet and down 50 feet. Another option, a little bit easier. Same command, copy. I select this, hit the space bar. I just pick a point in space, pick. And since my ortho's on, I just come straight down 50 feet. Hit escape. Now they're right in line. I need to still move them 5 feet to the right. So I'm going to use my move command, MO space, pick these, pick a base, whoops. Pick move. Done picking, so hit the space bar. Sorry. 5 feet. I can prove it's correct by doing a dimension. This point here to the matching point down here. 5 feet. And from here to here, it's going to be 50 feet. Okay, next one. Trim back all of the lines on the exterior of the green circle. So I can do it a few ways. Trim, I want to pick my cutting line. So I'm going to cut to that line there. Hit the space bar because I'm done selecting. And I could pick individual lines, really slow. I could also do a crossing where I pick off in space here, come down and to the left, and then anything I cut across will pick. I pick again, come down, pick, and I can keep doing that. I could also hit F space for a fence. I hit the pick button, pick, 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 pick. Hit the space bar and I'm done. A faster way than all those is the X trim command. XTRIM space. It says to pick a polyline as my cutting edge. I'm going to pick the green line, specify the side to trim on. I'm just going to pick outside the green line and they all disappear. Trim all the lines that are on the Trim all the lines that are on the inside of the yellow circle back to the yellow circle. So I want to trim all these lines on the inside. Again, I can use the X trim. Pick the yellow line, hit the space, but let's just pick the inside here. And there we go. Done. Rotate the line in the 3 circles clockwise 50 degrees. Use the big X as the base point of your rotation. So I'm going to pick my rotate command, which is up here. Pick the line and these 3 circles. Looks like there's other lines in there, so I'm just going to hit rotate again. Use a crossing to pick them all. Pick right here as my base point, and you'll see the rotation of the arrow right near my cursor is going counterclockwise. That's my positive direction. So I'm just going to type 50 and hit return, and that just rotated that 50 degrees. I can prove it's 50 degrees by drawing a horizontal line here, doing an angular dimension. From here to here, 50 degrees. Okay? It says here to load the line type zigzag. Change the color of the circles to be green and change the line to have a type of zigzag. So circles need to be green. I'm just going to pick the circles, come up to my properties toolbar, drop down, pick green, wheelie mouse out. Under properties, I have this drop down right here. You can see these are the current line types loaded. I'm going to hit Other, and now my line type manager pops up. I want to load, and I can scroll down until I find the very last one, which is zigzag. I click on it, hit OK, and now you can see zigzag's been loaded. I hit OK. Now I just come in and select that line, come to my drop down, pick zigzag, and there it is. Draw a rectangle that's 51 foot 6 inches long by 21 foot tall. Rectangle. Specify a first corner point. I pick right there. I'm going to hit D space for dimensions. 51 foot 6 return. 21 foot return. And I have to pick a point up in the direction I want the rectangle to be made. So I just pick. I want horizontal and vertical dimensions. Here we go. I'm going to go up here, linear, intersect, intersect. Same there. Create a layer called rectangle. So I'm going to go to my layer manager right here. And it's asking me to create a layer called rectangle and set that layer's properties to be a hidden line that is yellow in color. So up here is my new button, pick. Rectangle is the name. It's on, it's not frozen, it's not locked. The color is right here. I'm going to click on that row, pick yellow, hit OK. And under line type, I'm going to pick that column and I'm going to pick hidden. And I'm going to hit close with this X on the left. I want to put the rectangle on that layer. So I grab the rectangle, I just selected it, come up to my layer drop down right here, and I pick rectangle. So now I have a rectangle that's yellow with a dashed line, or a hidden line. Create a dimension layer. Okay, let's see if there's a dimension layer already created. There is. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pick these two dimensions, select the drop down, come down to the dimension, select, and now if I select on it, it says right here it's on dimension, or over here it says I am on the dimensions layer as well, right here, second one down. Okay, here we go. Create 15 rows and 20 columns of the circle below. Change the color of the circles to be magenta. I'm going to change this circle to be magenta right away because I know I won't be able to do it once I do my array. So I change the color and I need to do an array. So I come up to my array bar here, pick rectangular array, I select it, and I hit the space bar because I'm done selecting. So as I click on these here, it adds rows, adds columns. But it specifically tells me 15 rows and 20 columns. So I'm going to come up in here to my toolbar for my arrays. For columns, I'm going to highlight this with my cursor. I'm going to type in 20. And it says I want to space the columns 3 foot on center. So the spacing between is the next one down. I'm going to type 3 foot. And click off of it, and it does it. Up here I need 15 rows. I'm going to select the rows and highlight it. 15. And it says I want 5 feet between them, so I can click on here. I could type 5 feet, or I could type 60 for 60 inches. 5 times 12 is 60. Either way, I'll draw it as 5 feet though. Okay. So now I should have 15 rows and 20 columns. If I just click on it, up here it's going to show 20 columns. It's going to show 15 rows. Space between is 5 feet. And space between the columns is 3 feet. Scale the house up to be twice as big as it currently is. I have a scale command. I pick everything. Once I'm done picking, I have to hit that space bar. I need to pick a base point to scale about. I'm just going to pick this point somewhere in the middle, and I'm going to hit the number 2. That's my scale factor. It said it wanted to be twice as big. Tells me now I want to do a horizontal dimension for the width of the house at the bottom, and a vertical dimension from the bottom of the house to the top of the roof line. Linear dimension, hit the space bar, pick. Linear dimension, here to here, pick. Done. This text is currently center corrected and 1'3" tall. Please left correct. I'm going to double click on it. It opens up my text formatting box. I pick with the pick button, I hold it down and drag across the whole thing here. I come up into here. In this area right here is where I can do the correction. Here's left corrected, center corrected, right corrected, and then squared off, justified, I don't know what they call it, but we're going to left correct it. I want it to be 2 feet tall. I'm going to come up here and type 2 feet. I'm just going to hit OK over here or click outside the square. OK? And now that's done. This text is currently multi-line text. Whatever command you use to make it single line text. Well, I'm going to explode it. Now it's individual lines. Open the dimension style manager. Create a new dimension style called Expert. Annotation. I want to create a new one, and I want to start with standard, which is the existing one. My new style name is going to be Expert. I'm going to hit continue. And it wants me to change my fit to be from 100 to 200. So these are all the different tabs that exist within the Dim Style Manager, but I'm just going to go to the fit. And this number here scales up every single value that's in the rest of this table. So right now it's set to 100. I'm going to change it to be 200. And if I go to my lines here, or my, let's say my arrows, my arrowhead is currently 3/16 of an inch. On the drawing it'll be 3/16 of an inch times 200 to get the actual size that's going to be drawn. Hit OK and hit close. And that's all for that. These lines should be joined to create a 90-degree corner. 2 ways to do that. I can use my extend command. Extend. I'll select both of them by using a crossing. Hit space because I'm done selecting. Pick that one and pick that one. So again, all I did was use the extend command. Extend, pick, crossing, pick, spacebar, extend. Another way to do it is using your fillet command, because your fillet command can give you a 90-degree corner. So if I find my fillet, which is right here, fillet, down here there's a radius. I can either click on it or type R space. My radius is set to 0, which is what I want because it's in the brackets. Just going to hit the space bar to accept that. I select my first line, I select my second line. It creates a fillet with a radius of 0, which is basically a 90-degree turn there. Another way to do it, if you just use your grips, you can grab them both like this and highlight them. Pull this one along here, highlight it, pull this one here, go straight up, and your perpendicular O-snap will pop, and then you come back here and do this. So a bunch of different ways to do it. These lines should be joined by a curved corner with a 10-foot radius. Fillet is the way you want to go for that. Fillet, R space, 10-foot space, pick, pick. If I click on this over here, it's going to say my radius is 10 feet right there, over here. Fillet command is very powerful. I use it quite a bit. It's saves you a lot of time. Draw an ellipse of any size, it says. So I come over here to my draw box, and on the right hand side is an ellipse. There's a number of different types of ellipses: center, axis, end, elliptical arc. I'm just going to pick the first one. I'm going to pick a point, I'm going to pick a second point, and I'm going to pick a third point. And there's an ellipse. Draw a spline of any shape. My draw box, I hit the drop down. Over on the left there's 2 different splines here. I'm going to pick the first one. I'm going to come over, I'm just going to hit my pick button. I'm going to hit F8 to turn my ortho off, and now I can freewheel. And all I'm doing is hitting the pick button. Space bar to end, and there I go, I have a spline. I can select it and move it around with my grips, as so. Move that out of the way. Last thing, I want to draw a polyline, starting thickness of 12 and an ending thickness of 24. Length doesn't matter. Okay, a polyline. So I come up here to my draw box, and here's polyline. Well, it's asked for a starting point, so I'm going to pick a starting point. Gives me the option down here for width. I can either click on it with my cursor or I can hit W, space. My starting width is going to be 12. My ending width is going to be 24, because that's what the problem asked for. Bring my cursor to the side. I'm going to put F8 on so it's nice and neat. And there I go. It said length doesn't matter. If I select this polyline, I hover over the edge and pick it. Over here on the edge, it says starting width is 1 foot, ending width is 2 feet, 12 inches and 24 inches. Draw a square that is 30 foot wide by 30 foot tall. So I'm going to use my rectangle command. Rectangle, pick. D space for dimensions. 30 foot space, 30 foot space. Pick a point to finish it off. I'll move that up so it's slid into my box here. Draw a circle in the center of that square. So I'm going to draw a line from the intersect here to the intersect here as a quick way to locate the center of that square. And I want to have a circle that has a radius of 10 feet. Circle, center radius. I hover over here till I find the midpoint. Come on out, 10-foot radius. I'm going to erase that line now. I'm just going to pick it, hit my erase button. Then it says draw a line from each quad point of the circle. If I click on this circle, over here I have my 4 quad points. They're at 12 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 6 o'clock, and 9 o'clock. Draw a line from each quad point of the circle to the midpoint of the square. So L space for line, I come to the quad, and I come up to the midpoint. L space. I could mirror these as well, but it's so quick to draw lines that I'm not even going to bother. Square shall be magenta. So I'm going to pick the square and change its color to magenta. Circles and lines are white. Done. Over here, this is what we did in class. These are M leaders. So if I come up here, in my annotation tab, there's a leader here. If I click on it, I come down here. I can select here as my first point. I'm going to hit F8 to take my ortho off so I can go off at an angle. I select, and as soon as I select, it gives me my landing area, and I can type slate roof, and then I click off of it. I do it again, leader, come over here, pick that, come up, chimney. Again, just hit the space bar to go right back into it. Good. So that's how we do M leaders. But one cool thing about M leaders is it allows you to easily line these up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select all these 3 right here just by using a crossing command. And then I'm going to go to this drop down next to leader, and I'm going to pick a line. It says select a multi-leader to align to. So I want them to all line up with this slate roof node. So I'll pick that, hit my F8 again, and then pick a second point. One more time, I pick them all, come up, select my align. Which one do I want to align to? This time I'll pick Windows, pick a second point, boom. If I click on this multi-leader and I hover over this square right here, it allows me to lengthen my landing. I just come over here and lengthen the landing, and I do that and my landing can get longer. I can also hover over it and I can add a leader. I'll come pick here, hit the space bar, and it added a leader. I'll do that again to the windows. So pick on this one, hover, come over to the white area, add leader. I'm going to pick over here, hit my space bar. Now I have 2 leaders. If I just pick on this blue box here, it allows me to move the text. As I move the text, it's going to adjust my arrow location. I can also grab the grip down here, move it to a different spot. You can also hover over it and see what happens. I can remove my leader, which gets rid of the entire leader. Hit U to bring that back. Or I can add a vertex, which is going to be a second point. Gives you a little more flexibility when you're doing your leader. Over here, some of the dimensioning we worked on here, if I select this dimension that's already been created and I hover over this grip here, it allows me to do a number of things. One, I can move it above the dimension line, so just select that. I can come back, hover over it, and reset the text position. I can move text only, so I just want to move the text out of there, and it gives me no leader. And by that, what I mean is this. I can hover over it, move with leader, and now it's going to give me a line back to the dimension as such. Oftentimes when we want to put things on the outside, we'll use that add leader, and we'll use F8 to come horizontal like so. Okay. Another item that you can do here, you can center vertically. That didn't do anything for this location. But over here, if you hover over the end grips at the arrows, you can flip the arrows. And since you would never just have one arrow flipped and not the other, you come over this end, hover over this square, do not select it, and then just come down, select the flip arrow. So those are some options for text. When we do dimensioning, if we click over here, there's the Annotate tab up on the top here. It gives you much more options, many more options for your annotation. One of the dimensions here is your quick dimension. If I select the quick dimension, I come over here, just pick, and I cross this whole area and hit the space bar. It gave me dimensions for every single one of those. I'm just going to select all these, come over to here, my properties toolbar, go to my fit area, and I'm going to type 100 to reduce the size of all these. Make them even smaller. I'm going to make them 50 so we can see them all. So that came out pretty good. I'd probably play with this one a little bit. Maybe move it above the dimension line so the arrows come inside. It looks kind of awkward that these all aren't the same, so I'd probably go like this, come to Home, pick Match Properties, select all these so they all look the same. I'm going to undo that. I'm going to erase all these for a second. My other option when I have these grips on, if I select the dimension, I hover over this grip, it says Continue Dimension. So again, I'm not selecting anything, I'm just hovering over the grip. Continue Dimension. Now I can pick the next item I want to dimension to. Just keep going like that. And it continue doing the dimensions without actually picking the dimension command. Again, one more time. I pick it, I hover, light box pops open, continue dimension. Let's pick the next thing I want to go to is that intersect, endpoint, bang. Another option with that, I pick it. It says, I'm going to move it up actually a little bit. It says to baseline dimension. So I'm going to pick that and let's just watch what happens. I'm just going to keep going with this. And what it's going to do is it's going to hold the left edge for all my dimensions. So every dimension I keep adding always goes back to this first location. Again, select, hover, baseline, start picking. I can go to the midpoint here, I can go to the end point, I can go to the nearest point wherever I want to pick. And again, these are what baseline dimensions look like.